Welcome everybody to Back Pass with Ras, and I'm your host Ras. With me, as usual, we have our resident young man, Kelvin. How are you doing, young man?
I'm doing well. Couple of episodes in now, you're still referring me as a young man. Really makes my day every time I come to your show, right? Just by calling me young man makes my day already.
You
I'm
will
doing
always be the young
fantastic.
man
Yes.
until we find a guest younger than you.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. By the way, you owe us a picture. I think the listeners on Back Pass with Ras would like to see who Kelvin is. Any one of you who cannot wait for the picture, you can always go out to our YouTube page and take a look, because now we've got our show on YouTube, not just the audio, but the video as well, starting with the last show featuring Indra Shadan. So we started with that, and this one will go out on YouTube as well. So besides that, Kelvin, when can we get to see your photo?
You put me on the spot, right? Oh, you'll get to see it soon. I'll send it to you soon.
Okay, looking forward to that. So today we've got a guest, and I'll present to you this guest. He's at a very young age, he became the general manager of a professional football club in Singapore. If he was an actor, he would be termed as a chocolate boy hero. And he is someone I have the privilege and honor of working with a few times, and I hope I will still have that a few more times after today. He's none other than Mr. Badri Ghent, the GM of Lion City Sailors. How are you doing,
Woo!
Badri?
Hey Ras, I'm good. I'm good. Hey Kelvin, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing, Badri? Chocolate boy,
Good.
yeah? Last time you are really well.
That's definitely a first for me, man. But I'll probably take it as a compliment, lah.
How you like the build up?
All good, all good. Very nice.
Nice, right? Right. Okay. So for segment one, as usual, we're going to go in the past, going to go to the 90s and the noughties. And your first question would be, what attracted you towards supporting Newcastle United?
Well, I obviously didn't, grew up to be a Newcastle fan the whole time. To be very frank and honest, I started off as a United fan.
Right.
Back in primary school.
Best team in the world.
But in hindsight, I actually would attribute that to peer pressure, lah. Conforming to some societal pressures. Obviously, that was against the backdrop of the '99 treble that they had. So I was just simply riding on the success. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I started really supporting a team, and that was Newcastle. Probably back in the early 2000s, I would say 2001, 2002. I actually went there, when I was a kid, and for me, it was just instant attraction. It was, I went to the stadium, and I can remember the day, like, it's literally like goosebumps. You feel the passion of the crowd. You feel the intensity, you feel the anxiety and the anticipation, and that was again an instant attraction for me. One thing that I also liked was the fact that it was like a one team city. The entire team the entire city, went behind the team, and on every match day, the city just goes on standstill. Everyone is tuning in, either at the pubs, at home, or in person at the stadium, and for me that was just simply magical. And that showed, the power of sports, and obviously the power of football to really unite a community, and for me that was a really magical thing. So a large part of my support was actually also down to Bobby Robson, who I simply idolize. And that's really why I started supporting Newcastle.
Okay. What age were you at that time when you supported Newcastle?
Well, let's just say I was in probably P5, P6. I was doing my PSLE that year. Yeah.
And how old are you today?
Well, you can do the math, Ras. You can't really.
Not very good with maths, bro. Not very good with maths.
Well, yeah, I'm 32 this year. 32.
Told you, young man. All right. So, 32 this year. Wow.
Yeah.
You're doing a P5 in 2001.
I was doing
2000.
If memory serves me right, 2000. No, sorry, 2001. I was P6, I think.
P6.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I was doing O levels.
There you go.
Okay. So, this is probably a bit before your time, but what memories do you have of Kevin Keegan's Newcastle teams, especially the ones from 1995 to 1997?
Well, I think obviously the first thing that comes to mind was that post match interview that he did.
Oh,
But yeah, for me it was really the entertainers era. That was when UEFA Champions League ushered back to the stadium. They were really playing a fantastic brand of football. Flowing attack, incisive passing moves, and definitely that really majestic wing play. So, I think that was where even back in the 95, I believe it was, I think Ginola came in, Les Ferdinand came in, and then
yeah.
we had, I think, Warren Barton as well. Yeah, amazing fullback. And I think Peter Beardsley also came back. So, yeah, that was an amazing period for the club. And I remember Philip Albert as well, during that period.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there were probably some ups and downs during that period. In '96, I think United were about probably 10 or 12 or 13 points clear the top. But we slowly caught up. And then everyone can still remember somehow that 4-3 defeat to Liverpool, which I think
Yeah.
was I think voted like probably the greatest game of football in the Premier League. So that was definitely, I think, a turning point for the club during the season. And then I think we lost to Blackburn, and yeah, we didn't do quite well. But what I felt was important was rather than being too affected by that, the next season we signed Alan Shearer, local hero, transfer record from Blackburn Rovers, and it's obviously probably the best 15 million any club ever spent. So I think for me that was a truly magical period for the club.
Yeah, 1995-96, that was the season they finished second.
Yeah.
In fact, even the following season, 96-97, they finished second. But 95-96, they were leading the league.
Exactly.
At one point, 10 points clear of Manchester United,
Yeah,
and
correct.
United clawed back.
Exactly.
From the United perspective, we remember the game against Newcastle at St. James's Park, where Cantona scored the winner.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the catalysts for United's title charge. But yeah, that was the season where they said you can't win anything with kids, and United proved them wrong.
Exactly.
But today it's not about Manchester United; it's about Newcastle United. So Newcastle, you spoke about Sir Bobby Robson. He's also my favorite English manager.
Okay.
The late Sir Bobby Robson. He took over in 1999 and transformed the team from relegation dwellers to qualifying for European competition. So share with us your thoughts of his time at the club.
Well, I mean, Bobby Robson, I mean, I think he was really like a footballing royalty even before he joined Newcastle. I think he was considered a local guy as well. I think he was from County Durham. I mean, I've obviously watched a few of his biographies and read a few books as well. But yeah, he was definitely footballing royalty. Coming back to England. He won the UEFA Cup, the FA Cup. I think was with Ipswich. And obviously, who can forget his spells in Barcelona, Porto, and even PSV and Eindhoven in the Netherlands. And obviously, he had a pretty decent track record with the national team as well, where he guided England to the World Cup finals. I think, sorry, semi-finals.
Semi-final, yeah.
In 1990, yeah. So, he took over from Ruud Gullit, and I think it probably took a couple of years to really see the transformation. But yeah, it was probably him who transformed Newcastle into really genuine title contenders. And yeah, like I said, he was really one of the main reasons why I was really attracted to Newcastle. He had this, I don't know, certain genius about him, and I think maybe that was during a period of time where the club really needed a leader, and he was definitely one. He really instilled a sense of belief in the team, and obviously with his man management, he tried to instill some South American flair with some players from Argentina and Paraguay. But yeah, I firmly believe that the day that we let him go, we haven't really recovered from that day since. And I think it was evident. I think it was Graham Souness who took over him, and yeah, it sort of went downhill from there.
Yeah, it's fantastic manager. I think I would say the last great English manager that we've seen.
I would definitely agree.
Yeah. Between him and Terry Venables, the other one.
Yeah.
So 2001, 2004, what are your memories of Newcastle in those years?
Well, I started supporting them for 2001. But yeah, I think that was really the Champions League years probably. I think there were some really memorable European nights, obviously, within the club. But yeah, I think there was a period where I think we qualified for the round of 16 for one of the seasons where, we didn't really, I think we didn't win the first 3 games or something like that.
Yeah.
It was somehow etched in my memory,
Yeah.
but somehow we got through that round through the group stages. But I think we lost to Inter Milan, if I'm not wrong. But yeah, we didn't quite qualify for the quarters. But yeah, that was certainly one of the strongest memories that I have, and probably one can say that those were like the golden years of Newcastle within recent history.
Yeah, and also you challenged quite closely for league titles in those seasons as well.
Exactly. So I think 2001, 2004, we were definitely top 4 or 5, across those 3 seasons. So it was So I think there was definitely a very strong impetus for the team and the club to do well. We didn't win any titles, unfortunately, but I think we put in a really strong showing for ourselves, and that was when I think we cemented our reputation as really one of the biggest clubs in England for sure.
And you spoke about visiting St. James's Park. Which year was that?
Yeah, I think that was 2000. It was actually before I sort of supported them, but I believe it was 2000 or 2001, like P5, P6, if I can remember correctly. Yeah.
All right. So that was probably
was it a family trip or?
Yeah. So my dad was based in England back then, and then we decided to just travel up. He was based in a town called Luton. So he supported Luton Town, the Hatters. He tried in vain to get me to support them. But for me, back then I was still straddling along the lines of Man United. But it wasn't really until I went up to Newcastle and I visited the stadium and just be part of the atmosphere. And that was something that was really quite, not wanting to sound cliche, but life-changing for me.
Luton Town, actually, funnily enough, they were in the Premier League in the early years of the Premier League.
Yeah.
I remember them, but didn't do too well. Didn't stay up too long.
Yeah. I remember that. Well, I actually use them sometimes when I play Football Manager or Championship Manager. So just to make my dad proud a bit. But that was as far as it went.
Okay, so you spoke about European nights at St. James's Park. Newcastle had some brilliant nights, European nights under Kevin Keegan and Sir Bobby Robson. What are some of your favorite memories?
Well, I think there was definitely a few. I mean, I think we beat Juventus 1-0. But I think the one that really stood out for me was obviously that 3-2 win, over Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think that was 97, 98 or 1999, I believe. But Barcelona came, and I think that was something where I think until today, if you're Newcastle fans, there's something that's still etched deep in their memory. And I think that was it was a hat trick by Asprilla.
Yes.
So that 3-2 victory was for me probably my favorite European night.
Was that the last time Barca played at the stadium?
Was that, sorry?
Was that the last time Barca played at St. James?
I would think so, unless there was any pre-season friendlies or Audi Cups or whatever, but I think that was probably the last time.
So they still got a victory over them then.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I also remember that campaign where you lost the first 3 games and then you still qualify. I think that was memorable.
Yeah, I think that was 2001, I believe. 2001 or 2002
or something somewhere
a
bit after that. I think you qualified 2001, 2002 was the first season where you finished in the top 4 and you qualified for the Champions League. So 2002, 2003 onwards somewhere. I probably think it's 2002, 2003.
I think so. I think it could be. I remember like one of the most interesting statistics from that episode was like no other club had lost their first 3 or 4 games and still make it into the knockout stages.
Yeah.
So I think.
And in those years, you had 2 different group stages. So you qualified on the first one, you ended up in the second one. And I remember that one because you were in the same group as Inter.
Inter, that's right. Yeah. Which obviously you support.
And Inter smashed you 4-1 at St. James Park.
Smashed is a bit pushing it, but we did lose to Inter 4-1.
Unfortunately, didn't make it out of that group.
I think there was a Belgian club, was it? I think.
Was it Anderlecht? Could have been
Anderlecht, probably one of those, yeah.
And just to sidetrack a bit, I just thought about these two guys, Craig Bellamy and Alan Shearer. What a
Oof,
partnership they were,
what
right?
a partnership,
What a
man.
partnership. I mean, you had a out and out nine, and then you have like a 10 playing behind, just snapping at the ankles of defenders, making those runs to draw attention away, and vice versa as well. So for me, what a combination that was. I mean, yeah, something that's probably that hasn't probably been replicated ever since at the club.
Yeah.
And Nobby Solano giving the balls. Nobby Solano.
Yeah, Nobby bombing down the right flank with his pinpoint crossing. I mean, to this day, I still don't know. I mean, he doesn't look like the sort who will be
Yeah.
Newcastle United legend, with all the respect to him, but what a player he was.
What a player, man. What a player.
And you had some good partnerships, because before that, in the early years of the Premier League, you had Peter Beardsley and Andy Cole.
Yeah.
Then later came Alan Shearer and Les Ferdinand.
Yeah.
And then these two, Bellamy and Shearer. So yeah, you had some good partnerships, and of course nowadays we've moved on to an era where we're playing single strikers or no strikers.
Yeah.
So perhaps the days of partnerships, strike partnerships, are over.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably one of those. I mean, it's always a transition and progression, when it comes to tactics, obviously. But yeah, I think between Bellamy and Shearer, they had something that just clicked, and obviously they caused a lot of terror and despair against the opposition for sure.
So
Guys,
talking
you are
about
missing, sorry, sidetrack. You're missing one more partnership. Michael Owen and Alan Shearer.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on
together
paper, I
as well.
felt it was very strong, but somehow I just feel that the Bellamy Shearer partnership just stood up for me.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think it's not on par with the others that I've named. And okay,
but that definitely came close, the Owen Shearer combination for sure.
It was like the dream partnership, but
yeah, exactly.
didn't quite materialize.
Yeah.
Okay, you talked about despair. What are some of your most painful memories as a Newcastle fan?
Oh, there's been quite a few, right? I mean, especially since 2007. But yeah, I think the one that definitely stood out was the relegation to Championship. I think, that was another pivotal moment for the club where, things can get a bit hairy when, a Premier League team gets relegated to the Championship, where, almost anything can happen. Obviously, with smaller budgets and with players leaving. But somehow we banded together, and we got back at the first try, which if you think about it, doesn't happen quite often, to be honest. But it just goes to show, in terms of the strength and the unity we had as a club. But it was credit to the manager as well, for working his magic to bring us back to where we belong, I can safely say.
Were you watching those matches in the Championship?
It was a bit tough, if I'm honest. It was a bit tough in terms of getting access to watch the games. But however way I could, I was definitely try. Whether it was just delayed highlights after 2 or 3 days or whatever, if I can recall correctly. And then that was actually during my NS period as well.
Oh,
so
okay.
yeah, I mean, we just did the best we could in terms of just keeping track of the club's progress and development. But again, like I said, being in the Championship was something where almost anything can happen. You can be in mid-table obscurity in Championship, or can get even worse. Just like our rivals Sunderland, as what we see today.
Yeah.
So it was something where it was a key turning point, I guess, for the club. In terms of coming back into the Premier League, and this is something that I think until today could have gone very wrong. But thankfully we pulled through.
Okay, on a brighter note, back to something more happier for you. Your all-time favorite Newcastle United player?
Alan Shearer.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the first thing that comes to mind, and obviously he's definitely a big favorite for every Newcastle fan. But I would actually say Keegan.
Okay.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I mean, Shearer is like the default favorite of all-time Newcastle player, right? I mean, obviously given who he was and the profile that he had. But yeah, for me, I think Keegan was really the one that stood out for me. Highest number of appearances. I think it's like 350 something appearances, a club record, obviously, in terms of appearances for the club. And for me, it was actually Keegan. The Irish heritage that I share with him maybe does play a bit of a part, if I'm honest. But I think it's a combination of both Keegan and Alan Shearer as my all-time favorite Newcastle player or players.
Okay. What's your opinion on this player called Oliver Bernard?
Oliver Bernard. Well,
the left back.
So I think for someone like him, he was quite diminutive, small in size and in stature, but I think he had that explosive element to his game, and I think he played really well. And I think it was during that period of time where there was a bit of a French connection as well with, I think, Laurent Robert being in the team as well. So that certainly helped to click. Yeah.
Laurent Robert had a wonderful left leg.
Yeah, what a player.
Exactly. And he just sometimes takes something out of the box that takes you completely by surprise. And he's won matches with that sweet left foot. And being a left footer myself, I always just like try to look at what Laurent Robert does and just try to replicate that as best as I can. But obviously, I fail miserably time and time again.
Okay, you spoke about your Irish heritage. So when it comes to World Cups and European Championships, do you support Ireland?
Well, I guess
By default.
yeah, for sure. My family would be disappointed if I didn't. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm a keen follower of the Republic of Ireland national team, and I think they've always been obviously in the shadow of England and maybe to a certain extent Scotland as well, and perhaps even Wales. But yeah, I do follow them, and obviously I just keep track of their development and progress over the years.
I think they had a very good time in 1990, 1994 World Cups, and 2002 not bad as well.
Exactly. And my favorite Irish player of all time is actually Bobby Ghent.
Okay.
Every time he plays, just watch and then just see what he can do and how he leads a team. For me, he's someone who leads by example. And he's obviously crafted a very successful career for himself, and so obviously he flew the Irish flag very high wherever he went.
Unfortunately, we didn't get to see Roy Keane in a World Cup in 2002. He was there in 1994, but not in 2002.
So he actually came from the same place as my dad, which is County Cork.
Okay.
So that's probably my dad's claim to fame. But I don't think they ever cross paths. But that's something my dad has always been very proud of.
Okay. Dennis Irwin is from there as well.
Yep. Dennis Owen, probably my favorite left back actually. In spite of being a Newcastle fan back then, Man United fan obviously, but for me Dennis Owen is someone who, he didn't have anything special about himself, but that fight, that aggression he had in him, that will to win, I think that was something that definitely stood out, and I think that was why Fergie stood by him all those years ago.
Very steady player. He was comfortable on both feet. Great on set pieces as well. Free kicks.
I mean, nothing fantastic, nothing out of the world, but
not Roberto Carlos kind.
No, exactly.
Patrice Evra, all these kind of colorful left backs, but I get what you mean. Yeah,
but game in, game out, he'd always get stuck in, and he'd always wear his heart on his sleeve, and he's those kind of players that are really special to me.
Okay, just indulge us a bit. Explain to us your heritage. Your father's Irish.
Yeah, so actually it's quite straightforward lah. I mean, my dad's Irish. He moved to England. He's passed on now. So he moved, I think when he was in his early 20s, he moved to England. Came to Singapore, met my mom, and basically the rest is history. My mom is Singaporean Malay. So yeah.
That explains your unique surname.
Yep, and also explains my very localized accents. But everywhere I go, I get mistaken for being someone else.
That explains your looks as well. Your chocolate boy looks. Yeah.
But still, I must admit, this is the first time I'm hearing that. But
well, not even your wife calls you that.
Ras.
If my wife did, I probably find it a bit weird. But I mean, somehow it sounds better coming from you, Ras.
Mutual love, bro.
Exactly.
Okay. Just before we end this segment, your all-time favorite player. So regardless of club, country, transcend everything.
Wow. Oh, you're gonna put me in a spot there. Well, this may be quite underwhelming, but it's actually Kevin Nolan.
Kevin
Nolan. Again, I mean, you always look at the Shearers and the Owens of football and the Ronaldos and stuff like that. But yeah, as underwhelming as it sounds, it's actually Kevin Nolan. I mean, he was the quintessential captain, just like Roy Keane. You know, he definitely led by example. He rallied his team whenever and however he could. You know, he stuck by the club. You know, during those fairly difficult periods back then as well. But yeah, I'm kind of surprising myself with that answer. But Kevin Nolan actually.
I like his goal. I like his goal celebration.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Can you do it, Kelvin?
Oh, the goals were few and far in between, but the celebrations were definitely something to look forward to.
All right. So thanks a lot for looking back in the past. We've back past with Ras. This is our specialty, of course, reminiscing on the good old times. So we brought the end, we bring you to the end, segment 1. And in segment 2, our young man will carry on with the present. So see you soon in segment 2. Go.
Welcome back to Back Pass with Ras. Badri, really interesting backstory you got on Newcastle, and I still think it really takes a lot of well, how do I say it, strength to
Gumption is the word I will use.
yeah. Okay, I was looking for the right word in my head. Especially when you went, the team actually experiencing the championship and then coming back in all those emotions. But really kudos to you, man. Kudos to you. But recently, just last week, some big news, man. Big week for the team, taken over by new owners. I have Ruben Brothers, the PIF, the Saudis. Oh, man, what are your thoughts on this?
Wow, I mean, it was definitely the best piece of news since Bobby Robson took over the club in '99. Obviously, as a Newcastle fan, we've had the ownership of Mike Ashley since 2007. Hasn't been easy. I mean, speaking on behalf of my fellow Newcastle fans, but yeah, it was definitely a piece of news that was tremendous. It quite literally came out of the blue overnight. There were rumors since I think April 2020 about the PIF, and there were some issues in terms of some licensing and stuff like that, and the Premier League had to come in to sort of block the move back then. But again, to quite literally wake up to such amazing news for me was simply amazing, and I think we can only look forward now. We can only look to see what opportunities and what ambitions the new owners have, and I think it's something that is being regarded very highly by us Newcastle fans. And yeah, I mean, definitely very elated to hear that the takeover finally went through.
It's crazy because after all those years under Mike Ashley, and he looks like a very jolly guy, but I don't know, man, there's something off with him, but he looks like a jolly guy to me. So I think you probably heard Steve Bruce actually left the club on mutual consent, they said. Kudos to him, man. He's a great manager. Really stabilized the club, in my opinion. Play decent football. So who do you think will be the ideal manager to take over right now, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, like Steve Bruce, he really gave it as good as he got. He saved us on relegation, I think, on 2 occasions now. And I think he did receive a fair bit of stick, in terms of how he managed the club. But we can only imagine the kind of limitations and restrictions he's had, with the resources that the club had previously. But yeah, I mean, looking forward, they are obviously in the market now looking for a new manager. I feel that, for me, someone like Paulo Fonseca, who I think, or I read that they are speaking to, would be someone ideal to take over the club. He's done really well during his time in Portugal and with Shakhtar Donetsk as well. Another one I would actually, would really like to see is actually Eddie Howe. He did really well with Bournemouth. Knowing what little he had to work with, he did well for himself. But I think over and above a manager, maybe, I don't know, it may sound a bit controversial, but sporting director would also be good for the club. Someone to really chart the progress of the club, someone who knows his ins and outs in the transfer market, And it's basically very, very important for the club not to be taken advantage. I mean, everyone knows that, we have resources now, but, we need a steady operator within the transfer market. And a name that comes to mind for me is Luis Campos, who's the current sporting director at Lille. He's had amazing success, with the players that came and gone under his charge. And he's basically a transfer guru, so someone like Eddie Howe or Fonseca under, the leadership and the guidance of Luis Campos, I think would be very beneficial to the club moving forward.
I think
What do you
they'll
think
bring a
about
very
Antonio
good-
Conte?
Conte.
I mean, obviously he's a really big name, very established. But yeah, I mean, there's a certain romanticism when you look at someone a bit younger and maybe someone English like Eddie Howe. But I feel that what is important now is basically it's a rebuild of the entire club, right? So whether Conte has the patience is the word I would use, in terms of
he doesn't
overseeing
have
this
patience.
rebuild.
Correct.
Yeah. So for me, Fonseca and How would be my top options actually.
I think Fonseca is pretty okay. He played some decent football with Roma as well.
Yeah.
I think a couple of seasons ago. So Roma played some decent football. Paulo Fonseca with Luis. Oh, interesting. So I know you guys have unlimited sources, like source of money now. I know you can go out and buy Mbappe, but in your opinion, who would be your dream signing for Newcastle?
Dream
Lionel
signing.
Messi. Lionel Messi will come back and he will play for Newcastle.
Harry Maguire?
Harry Maguire. What?
He be not bad for sure. I mean, he's English, and there's only something.
I know this guy. He's Brazilian. Fred, you want him?
you can keep him. Yeah, I think you can keep him in United. But actually, for me, it'd be Haaland.
Haaland, oh.
Yeah, I think he'll be, the go-to guy for Newcastle, depending on whether the ambitions of the club matches his. Obviously, they do now. But I think he'll be the focal point of the club if he does join us. His stock is still rising. He's done really well in the leagues over the past few years. And I think he'll be really, really interesting, for Haaland to join the club.
So manager Paulo Fonseca and then the guy leading the it makes sense. Give him the number 9, then he can.
Exactly, yeah. And then just probably build a team around him, I guess you would say. But for me, like Haaland would be very, very interesting.
100%. I really like this player now in Newcastle, Saint-Maximin, that guy.
Yeah.
Wow, what a player!
What a player and what a guy, lah. You know what I mean? He's taken to the team and to the fans, and the fans in Newcastle all love him. He's obviously reciprocated that, not just on the pitch, but obviously with him, taking to social media and stuff like that. So yeah, for me, amazing lah. So I think given in spite of the takeover, I think he's the one who's probably going to be safe.
Yeah, true. I think he's the one few player. He and this other player, Miguel Almiron.
Yeah,
came from the MLS. That guy runs his socks out every game.
The funny thing about Almiron, he really reminded me of, you guys remember the movie Goal, right? Santiago Munez.
Yeah.
Like that was the first thing that came to my mind, man. I mean, they look almost alike, they're kind of same narrative and the same story. So it was quite interesting.
Now that you say that, it makes sense now, yeah? Oh, right. Okay, so Badri, in a professional capacity, you experienced a takeover as well not too long ago. What is the difference between how Home United was run and how Lion City Sailors are being run now?
Wow, I think Kevin, it's I would say night and day. Under Home United, I supported Home United growing up. 2002, 2003. I was literally a ball boy. Supplying balls to the like of Surachai, Jatura, Patarapong, and all those guys back in the day. And for me Indra for sure, of course, exactly.
I'll send you your results. Don't worry.
I will. Thanks, appreciate it. But yeah, I mean, I really grew up supporting Home United. So I was from Whitley Secondary, and back then there was a tie-up between the school and the club. We had coaches from the club coaching the school team, like Bernard, who's obviously a very important figure in my life as a mentor. We had I think Coach Hyrule, Coach Philip, who were there as well. So yeah, I was a Home United guy through and through, and for me to be given the opportunity to join the club, back in 2013, my friend Azrul, invited me to join the club back then as a marketing executive. And I remember the first weekend of my journey in Home United, they told me, okay, Badri, every new employee must wear the Home United Dragon mascot. It's like apparently a rite of passage. So I literally wore that suit, danced in the halftime, went for a few videos in that suit, which was so sweaty and hot and smelly. And I've never seen the suit being worn by anyone since, so definitely got conned there.
Was this live?
But was that?
Was this live?
It was one of those like games lah, right? So I was like the halftime show lah. I was literally the halftime show in 2013.
Man,
so
good on you, man.
You remember who they played against?
Man.
I think it could have been probably Warriors.
Oh my God.
Warriors, yeah.
You have a picture? Do you have a picture of that?
I have a few videos actually. There's like videos of me wearing that suit, dancing around Bishan Park, trying to get like some fan engagement going on, giving out brochures and flyers at Bishan interchange. So yeah, man, started from the bottom, man. But being in Home United for me was a truly amazing experience. To be able to grow together with the club. We had some amazing success. In obviously like 2018 where we were ASEANs of the AFC Cup ASEAN. We were champions, of the AFC Cup ASEAN zone, and we had fairly limited resources, in the grand scheme of things. But to achieve such an amazing feat for me was really amazing, lah. And I think being where I am today with the club, the journey has just been incredible. Back in the day in Home United, you always want success. You're always aiming and targeting for success, and you're always trying to plot and strategize to as best as you can. Given the fairly limited resources. But with the club now, we are truly lucky, to have the resources that we have now. We have an owner and chairman who is very supportive and very ambitious, and his intentions are very clear, which is to help Singapore football develop and progress. And for me to be part of this journey is just amazing. And I think one thing for me is that since joining the club in 2013, 2014, I've literally never worked a day since then, in the sense where it's really living the dream. It's really living the passion that is football. And there are some dark days, when you lose and when things don't really go your way. But for me, the magical thing is when you go to sleep, you wake up and you want to go again. And I think that's something for me that is really, really hard to come by, lah. And I truly call myself very lucky, get to work with people like Ras along the way. And for me, it's relationships, and I think until today, we are still very tight with Ras, and this is something that is just, yeah, I just count my lucky stars every night, lah. You know what I mean?
And I think I'll take this moment also to shout out to Azrul as well.
Yep.
Great guy.
Exactly. Yeah. So Azrul and I were actually ex-colleagues in Sports Council, or as we know, Sports Singapore now. But as we all know, in the sporting fraternity, it's really a small circle. You never really get out of the circle, but you just move around.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, since he introduced me to the club, and I've been here ever since. Yeah. But sorry, I went one big round actually, Kevin. But to answer your question.
Yeah, but you just shared your career path is quite similar to mine as well at D2D Sports. Yeah, I mean, most listeners would not know, but yeah, it is very similar. I also started from the bottom, and made my way up. So yeah, obviously, I mean, in terms of the size of organization, it's different, but yeah, similar. Yeah. All right, back to the show.
Back to the show.
And
speaking about resources, Badri, speaking about resources, you mentioned like you're so fortunate now, because the owner is being very cooperative, and he has a clear plan, and he's giving you guys resources. We have actually, if you listen to a couple of our episodes, we interviewed a couple of ex-players, some fans, and we always ask them, I always have questions on the S League, and I always ask the ex-players, what is missing in the game, what's missing, and they always tell me it's the resources that is missing. The game is there, their players are talented, everything is good. It's just that final bit of resource is just it's missing.
Yeah.
So I think for Lion City to have that is incredible, and hopefully they can take the Singapore football to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the topic of resources, it's always a chicken or egg thing, right? I mean, you can't have much resources if there's not much investments or sponsorships going through, and you only get sponsorships when there are fans, and you only get fans when there's quality in the league. So it's always that vicious cycle, and with the Sailors project that we have today, it was simply that spark, to reignite the magic that is Singapore football. There were some difficult moments in the past, obviously, but yeah, we're not looking back, we're only looking forward. And with our plans and our ambitions here at the Sailors, it's really something to help Singapore football progress, and obviously professionalize the way we do things. And we will definitely do the best we can, and it is something where we have very clear ambitions and targets, and the only way is up. Yep.
So congratulations on winning the S League, the first S League title, which is
It's called
incredible.
SPL now.
Sorry, the SPL. Sorry about that. The Singapore Premier League title.
I get it all the time, don't worry.
So what's next for the team, man? What's next? Where do you go on from here?
Well, I mean, by winning the SPL is obviously the target being met, in terms of achieving this silverware that no other local team has won since 2014. So it was definitely a special moment for us, and the manner in which we won was also something that we couldn't have scripted any better. Going into the final match of the season, neck and neck with Albrechts, our closest title contenders, level on points, and it was just a matter of, I think, 4 goals separating us. To be honest with you, that match, I was actually watching half the game in my car, because I just couldn't, the emotions and the anxiety. And so during that game, our player Haris Harun went down injured, and for me, there was like, and I went down, checked on him, make sure he was okay, went straight into my car and just watched the game live on the live feed, So a lot of nerves and a lot of anxiety, but I think after that it was joy, and I think the larger part was relief, that we did what was the target for the club. And we couldn't have done it without the players, the staff, the management, and definitely the chairman. So yeah, we will only look forward now. We will not dwell too much on the SPL title. We have a very, very I would say exciting yet busy season in 2022. We have the Asian Champions League to look forward to. So we want to put in a respectable account for ourselves amongst the big boys of the Champions League. And our ambitions is being reflected by our choice of head coach, Kim Do-hoon, who is who won the ACL title with Ulsan in 2020. So he knows what it takes to get there, and that was why we've brought him in to help us. And I think under his leadership and guidance, we have every reason to succeed moving forward. And I think there's so much more we can achieve as a club, and this is just the beginning.
Fantastic, man. I watched them playing. I was actually genuinely happy to see Lions City. I was like, whoa, they play some decent football. Yeah, like look at play some good football. Okay, so like you mentioned, it's been 5 consecutive years of a foreign team, winning the SPL. So what did your team, Lions City, do differently than the other local clubs this season?
I mean, obviously, with the investments we've put in the players, we've really set ourselves to be more professional in our approach. So during the Home United days, we try to be as professional as we can, given the situation and the circumstances. But with where we are today, we're in a very good position to really do something very different. And with the resources that we have, we've put in not to just the hardware, but the software. In terms of the key personnel coming in. So other than Coach Kim Do-hoon, who's brought in a totally different level of tactical nous and approach and coaching. We've looked at the sports science elements within football, and I think that's something that's been I would say lacking somewhat, especially when we were at Home United. So we brought in Mario Jovanovic, who was a former sports scientist at Aspire Academy, one of the best academies in the world. So he brought in a certain element of expertise and experience, and really implemented very different initiatives. And I guess for us, it was a matter of looking at these kind of guys to bring in all the expertise. And for them, it's honestly quite difficult to come to Singapore. From a professional perspective, Singapore is not really the next port of call, so to speak. But we dangled the fact of working and living in Singapore, bringing their families here. There's really no better place to be, with the education and the infrastructure and stuff like that. So we made it work, in terms of bringing in all these very highly skilled and experienced personnel, coupled together with our local colleagues. We have Coach Raman, very experienced, highly respected coach and ex-player within the game. And we brought in Fiza, who is like the Florence Nightingale of Singapore football as a physiotherapist. So it's all these different elements, a lot of moving parts. And honestly, my job, I would think, is fairly straightforward. It's just putting in all these components into place and making it work. And the players for themselves have seen that it's definitely a stark difference from where we were before and where we are now. Everything is being taken care of, and all they need to do is just perform on the pitch. Because like my mantra is, if I want a player to give 100% on the pitch, I have to give him 100% off it. And 100%. It's really as simple as that, to professionalize the way we do things, ensure that, if they're injured, they're being taken care of. Gets a bit overbearing sometimes, when that happens, but it is really to ensure that the player gets back to peak physical fitness as fast as possible, because it is obviously to the interest of the club and the player, in terms of all players, they just want to play, so we've really tried our best to professionalize the way we do things. There's definitely a lot more we can achieve at the club, but it is always an ongoing process, a lot of feedback from the players, from the staff, from the coaches, and it's always all about continual improvements as we go along.
Well said, man. Well said. I think your players should actually hear this episode. They were like, man, Badri is my man. He's taking care of us.
No. I mean, for me, we have an amazing bunch of players.
That's good.
And these guys, for me, as cliche as it sounds, they deserve nothing but the best. And they're all professionals. They're all highly talented, highly capable. And it's just a matter of unlocking their potential and their abilities. And we do whatever we can as a club to give them the best environment possible to not just to perform but to thrive. Yeah.
Fantastic. What would you like to see in the local league next season, among all the teams, or the league in general? What would you like to see in the league?
Sure. I mean, we within the Singapore football fraternity, everyone is really passionate about who we are and what we are trying to do. And I think there is definitely a collective effort to want to see improvements, gradual improvements along the way. And I feel that moving forward, we just have to band together and move toward a common direction and a common goal. Obviously, there was the Unleash the Raw component, and it's something that there is a goal and aim to work towards. And I think it's all just a matter of bending together as a fraternity, working towards the same thing. And we can be rivals on the pitch for that 90 minutes, but honestly, off it, we need to work together. And I think that's something that has been happening, to be honest. Like, amongst the clubs, there are always constant dialogue, constant discussions. But I think moving forward, it is the power of the collective and how we move together as one.
Wow, amazing. Hopefully, gain more traction next season. I think Lion City in this one season gained so many fans, just so many people in the stadium. I think, just with more exposure, overseas, the AFC, Asian Champions League, and then more people will actually take Singapore football more seriously, right?
Exactly. And for us, we really want to put in a good account, not just for the club or the team, but for Singapore. When we play in the Champions League next year, because effectively we're like the new kids on the block, right? I mean, you have your Kashima Antlers, you have your Guangzhou's and all that, but then you see who is Lion City Sailor. So we want to ensure that we give a very good first impression, lah. I think that's where I'm coming from.
That'll be fun. Okay, we are going to play just a quick rapid fire. Sure. Basically, it's just 10 questions, very easy. Okay, and it's basically about Newcastle. So we're going to test your knowledge about Newcastle. Don't worry. I played this game with Indra last week, and I gave him hell. But I thought like Ras gave me some feedback, say take it easy this time around. Okay, Ras. So
all right.
So the questions is going to start like this. Yeah, very easy. Option A, option B, option C, option D. Okay. So which player has scored the most goals for Newcastle United? A, Andy Carroll. B, Michael Owen. C, Alan Shearer. D, Jackie Milburn.
Why the hell you going with Andy Carroll as one of your options? You should go with Andy
I
Cole.
was like, I was thinking of all the strikers' name. I was like, Andy Carroll has to be inside, man.
Oh, I believe it's Jackie Milburn.
It's Alan Shearer, mate.
It's Alan Shearer.
Alan
There you
Shearer.
go.
Alan Shearer
Yeah,
scored.
Alan Shearer probably what 180 goals.
I don't even know who's Jackie Milburn. I was just like looking him up on like. I was just like, okay.
Jackie Milburn from the
my
black
bad,
and
my
white
bad.
era.
Okay, next question.
1950s, right? Jackie Milburn.
I think so. Yeah, you have the Milburn stand.
I'm
Mm.
sorry, man. I can't answer that. I don't know. Alan Shearer scored the team's fastest goal in the Premier League versus Manchester City in 2003. How long did he take? Option A, 10.4 seconds. Option B, 5.2 seconds. Option C, 6.3 seconds. Option D, 8.1 seconds. I repeat, 10.4 seconds, 5.2 seconds, 6.3 seconds, 8.1 seconds.
Oh, so we're going to the decimal points now.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not going to give you like two.
Those were the days where you could score quickly against Manchester City.
Probably not going to happen anytime soon nowadays.
Nope.
I would say it would be the 10-second one.
10.4, absolutely
10.4.
right. 10.4 seconds,
Yeah.
Alan Shearer scored the fastest goal. Okay, this is a very simple one. If you don't know, I'm also not sure now. Which team is traditionally Newcastle's rival? Manchester United, Manchester City, Sunderland, or Bolton Wanderers?
From now on, it's definitely going to be the first two after the takeover. But yeah, it's going to be the Mackems, Sunderland.
Yeah. Sunderland is long gone, yeah? Can't see them. Okay. No disrespect to any Sunderland fans listening.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Obviously
No
not.
disrespect.
What about Middlesbrough? What's your relationship like with them?
Well, I think there's definitely that time where derby going on, especially with Middlesbrough, but it doesn't get as intense as the rivalry with Sunderland for sure. And I think even though they're in League One now, but they are the fans are still taking the piss against the Sunderland guys. And even in Singapore, I'm in this Newcastle group, and there was once I believe. If I remember correctly, there was a Sunderland fan who attended an LCS game wearing a Sunderland jersey, and someone took a photo. Like, oh, okay, so that was quite funny for me.
All right, moving on. There is a statue of which manager outside Newcastle's home stadium? You should know this. Who's this?
So obviously Bobby Robson, man.
Bobby Robson. I even got Sam Allardyce as my option. So
Lucky it's not Glenn Roeder.
Oh,
I had Alan Shearer, Bobby Robson, Kevin Keegan, and Sam Allardyce.
Okay, not bad.
Not bad, actually.
Not bad.
Who holds the record number for most appearance for the club? Alan Shearer, Gary Speed, Jimmy Lawrence, or Shea Given?
It is Shea Given with, I believe, 354 appearances.
Jimmy Lawrence had 496 appearances.
Oh, there we go.
According to Google.
Okay.
Wrong, don't blame me, blame Google. Okay.
Yeah.
I think maybe Shea Given was the highest number of top flight appearances, perhaps.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. On one of the options he mentioned, Gary Speed.
Gary Speed,
The
Alan Shearer,
late
Jimmy
Gary
Lawrence.
Speed.
Late Gary Speed.
Yeah. What are your memories of him?
Oh, I mean, him wearing that famous number 11, he was one of my idols growing up, and for what that happened to him was simply shocking and devastating.
It was.
Yeah, so but for me, Gary Speed really ranks right up there with the rest of them as one of my Newcastle heroes for sure.
He was doing well at that time with the Wales national team.
National team, exactly.
So it was shocking.
Yeah, suffice to say, it came to a complete shock to everyone.
Yeah,
Well,
Kelvin, you're saying something?
I say he has a sweet left foot. No, it's a really
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, moving on. What are the Newcastle supporters called? Here are my options. The Looney Army, the Lads, Toon Army, or the Goodfellas?
They all sound quite good actually, but I'd have to go with the Toonami.
Absolutely right. Toon Army is the one. Okay, which bird is linked with the club? Option A, sparrow, eagle, owls, or magpie?
Canary.
That's knowledge, bro.
Well, actually, every bird you mentioned had some affiliation to another club. You know, the Eagles with Gilang in Singapore. But yeah, I would have to go with the Magpies.
Magpies, yeah. Okay, I think you'll like this question. Why are there seahorses on the crest? Okay, option A, Alan Shearer loves seahorses. Okay, option B, in Greek mythology, seahorses are called Johnny. Okay, option C, they are the symbol of Newcastle upon Tyne's seafaring heritage. Option D, this is the best, seahorses are cool.
I think seahorses are definitely cool. I think my son would definitely agree with that. But I will go with C.
C, yeah, fantastic. Yeah, so I read about this, pretty interesting as well. There's a whole backstory to this, the history of Newcastle. Really, really good. Okay, when was the last time Newcastle last won a major trophy? Yeah. So option A, 2016, 2017. Option B, 2000, 2001. Option C, 2005, 2006. Option D, 2018, 2019.
Well, if you consider the championship a title, it will be 2016, 2017.
That's absolutely right. 2016, 2017, they won EF. Hey man, that's a trophy, man. That's
yeah, we'll take it, we'll take it.
Yeah. Okay. This is like, if you watch this season, you must know this answer. Okay, who is wearing the famous number 9 this season?
It's got to be Callum Wilson.
Callum Wilson is absolutely right. Well done.
Yeah. I was quite surprised that Joelinton dropped the 9 for the 7 and Callum Wilson took it over. But what a player he is!
What a player! So that's all I got for you. Well done. Well played. I hope the questions were easy and fun for you. And
for sure,
happy and fortunate to be speaking with you today. And I look forward to catching up with you again.
Likewise, Kevin. I mean, the pleasure is mine, and to obviously having this opportunity to have a chat with you and catch up with Russ. Yeah, thank you very much, guys, for the invitation, and really appreciate it.
But before we go, I know there's a pet peeve with you when you hear local players talking in their post-match conferences.
Oh.
What is that pet peeve? Please share with us.
Russ, you really got to bring this one up. I think it's more better if they approach it in a different way
You
get the hint.
Correct answer I've heard in a long time.
I'm just gonna weave it in, man. I mean, he really caught me off guard with that one.
Yeah, it's more better. That's the one.
That's good.
My players are gonna hit me now, whoever who said that, but let's see if we can edit this one out.
You're gonna be like, tell me now.
They'll be conscious. They'll be conscious the next time they speak.
I think so, man. I think so.
All right.
Okay, it's been fun, Badri. Thanks for taking your time out to speak to us. And I hope you're well now, because we had an earlier session that we had to postpone because you weren't well. So, in this present climate, I think it's very important every one of us keep well, and good luck as well, because it's inevitable. Maybe one day all of us would get it at some point of our life. You never know, but as long as we can avoid it, let's avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, stay safe, guys. Just take precautions as much as you can. It's a situation where we just have to deal with it now. But just stay safe and remember to sanitize your hands.
100%.
Okay, all right. We reached the end of the show. Just want to ask you, do you have any tickets for Lion City next season? Kelvin's asking.
Hey, you gotta put me down. Actually asked for a jersey, but it's just like like season tickets now.
Oh man, you guys have my number. You just have to ask anytime, man.
We just our code name is Backpass, so we
okay.
Backpass.
You just mentioned that, and I'll make it happen.
Oh man, you're a star. You're a star.
All right, good fun once again. And we're signing out our episode, which is aptly called Sailing with Badri.
Actually, I kind of like that. Sailing with Badri.
It's not bad actually. It's a nice ring to it.
Yeah. Ciao.
Okay,
Bye. Take care, guys.